Look, the phone is ringing. How about that? And it's not supposed to be ringing. But it's okay, it will stop, and I will rectify that problem. And this is why we have a 5 minute countdown till the show begins so we can correct any errors or problems that may arise. And that was one of them, a phone ringing, and it shouldn't have been ringing. Also, remember, if you're watching or listening to this in replay, so if you're watching or listening, you can fast forward past the first 5 minutes and get into the show. Because as you saw with the phone ringing, we need this time to figure things out and make sure that everything is working properly. So that is what I'm doing like this very second. Also, I do want to thank all of our viewers and especially all of our listeners. Our listeners, I guess you listen in your cars and you're listening at work with your earbuds in, but you guys are really doing a great job of listening to our shows and previous shows and all of that. So keep that up. Our numbers are good. And also for those of you that listen to the show, there are commercials that are airing right before and after the show. So please, listen to them. It would be nice. That helps us out because that's how we get paid. So we're not asking for you anything or any subscriptions. Just watch a commercial or listen to a commercial, and it's the case is. Let's see what else. Now, if you're watching live and if you're here live, there's a couple of things you can do. So you can comment. You can have comments or questions. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, that's how you can comment. Just do your comment. And also, there is a link. So for those of you that are here live, there's a link there on Facebook and YouTube that says be in the show or be on the show. I'm not sure what it says anymore, but it's another link. And if you want to actually be in the show where people can hear you and or see you, you click that link and follow the prompts and you will be in the show. Don't worry, you're not going to be, automatically up on the screen and everything because we get to see you first. So you're kind of in a green room. And then we'll talk to you and ask whether you want to be seen or not, or you just want to talk and ask a question or a comment. Cool. That's what we would like. Now, we only have about 1 minute and 12 seconds left till the show actually starts with me, Anthony Cordova, and my lovely wife, Jill Cox Cordova, where you can see and hear us if that's the way you want to view the show. But if you just want to listen to the show, you're probably listening in replay. So just do that, and we love having you here. So we've got about another 40 seconds, and we're going to get right into the show. And this will be great because we love doing this show, and we love the interaction with our audience and the comments they make and the questions they have, because our audience actually makes the show better. So we're giving you a lot of credit, audience, and we need you. All right. Well, we've got about 10 seconds till the show starts, so please stand by.
Hello, 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 everyone.
Hello, hola.
Bonjour.
Wiedersehen. That's all I got. You see that? Wow.
That's all I got. Hello, hello, everyone. This is I'm Right.
I'm right.
And I'm Jill Cox Cordova.
I'm Anthony Cordova.
Thank you all for being here. I see that John Boltman is here. Hi, John.
John is here.
Welcome.
John, you should have been here last week. We did your show.
Well, he knows. He watched.
Oh, he did?
But he says he could not share his story because it wasn't safe for broadcast.
Well, you couldn't. Look, he's been in the business. He knows how to clean up a story.
He does.
And we could have read between the lines.
We could have.
So,
but, he's also a very honest guy. So he probably wanted to tell the story as the story was. And the story is,
Okie
We have other people here with us. Hey, Denise. Denise is in the house.
How are you? It's
hello,
good.
Hello.
I'm getting ready to say it's good to see you. But it's like I'm seeing you because I know you're here.
Okay.
So.
Ooh, that was deep. Ooh. And Connie is here too. My sisters-in-law are representing, or my sisters as I like to call them. Forget the in-law part. They're my sisters.
Oh! I see something from John. I actually
yes,
saw one.
He said his story was not family friendly.
Not family.
See, I still want to hear the story, John. You don't have to say it on a show, but I still want to know what the story is.
I'm very curious. Most embarrassing moment.
Well, that was a fun show.
I wonder if it involves a bathroom like mine.
Well, all three of your stories involved a bathroom. That is true.
I never realized that before.
Until we discussed it last week?
Yes. I never did realize that all of my embarrassing stories involve a public restroom.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. We got to get you some of those.
No, I don't need that.
Embarrassing stories that involve
I have my own embarrassing stories.
Okay.
Don't negate my
I think
embarrassing
you held
stories.
Back.
No, I didn't.
I think you held back.
Why? Was there an embarrassing story you know of that I didn't tell?
No, that's for another episode. So.
Okay. And then John says he'll try to put his best Hunter S. Thompson spin on it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You are a storyteller, John. Yeah. You are.
I'm looking forward to that. Yes, I am.
Me too.
What's up, Jill? What are we doing?
Well, this evening, we are talking about dating in the digital age. Because, a lot has changed since we got married.
Dating in
for
the
daters.
Digital age.
It's part of a segment that we call
Stand by your stance.
So I thought it would be fun to take a stance on if now we are married. We want everyone to know that. Everyone here tonight does know that. But if you're listening and you've never met us, you've never heard this show, we are married. We've been married for 19 years.
Yes.
And we dated for 2 years before that.
And here's the thing.
And we still date now. Too.
We're doing a
with
show.
Each other.
You and I, a married couple, are doing a show on dating in the digital age, but yet neither one of us have ever done any digital dating.
So that's why in this segment, I would like us to take a stance on what we think would be the hardest thing if we ever have to date in the digital age.
If we ever have to date in the digital age?
Yeah, like if something happened and we
what
have
are you
to
wishing?
get. I'm not wishing anything. I've
You're
already
putting
established
it into the universe.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Out
What
there
if we?
now.
Well, let's do it this way.
I'm scared.
Before I married, before we got married, what if we had to date in a digital age? What do you think would have been the hardest part?
Oh, you never would have dated me.
Why?
Because I don't type fast enough. If I was trying to communicate with you via text or something, or, in a digital platform, and you're trying to have a conversation with me, and I'm typing like really, really, really slow, you would be like, what's up with this guy?
No.
And
Actually,
and
that what you're talking about would be my pet peeve, because I would want to have a verbal conversation instead of
Yes.
typing.
But
Because I do, to your point, I do know myself. Like when I first got interested in boys, if they, how boys used to pass and girls used to pass notes, if there was a misspelling, because I was a
Yeah.
spelling champ or something like that, I didn't like them anymore.
That's right. That's
But
how
I'm not like that now.
That's how I would have gotten put up on a shelf. What? He's got a typo. I make typos all the time, like on the regular. I can't tell you how many times I have to, I'm sending a text and then I'll say typo, I meant that. Oh no, that's typo too. Typo. And oh no, I meant this. Oh, typo. See, and you'd be like, oh no.
But see, I'm thinking that
No.
if I had to date in the digital age, I would spend as little time as possible in that mode, in the digital mode, and have what you call a meeting date where we can talk face to
Oh,
face.
but you don't want to do that too quickly.
Well, not too quickly, no. But there are things that you can. Well, okay. Well, what would be your issue?
Well,
But not too quickly, like you said, not too quickly.
yeah. For me, a good means of communication is, I really do want to hear the person's voice, because things get lost in
Translation. Yes, they do. And
especially
typos.
with me.
Things get
and
lost in
typo.
typos.
Right. So yeah, I would want to hear the person's voice as soon as possible. So I would
Yeah.
like a phone call. Now maybe that's because I'm old, or maybe people can sense more about a person if they hear their voice. And, whether their voice raises or lowers, you could hear their laughters, see whether it's sincere or not, whether it sounds sincere. There's many things. The person might have said in their profile, I'm single with no children, but then there's like a whole bunch of children
In the background.
Screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy!" And you'd be like, "Oh shoot, she wasn't quite honest with me." Or he, people can get on here and are married, but they're looking for a date. And not that they're not telling their partner that, So,
They're married and looking for a girlfriend, boyfriend, or something else,
yeah,
a side person.
yeah, yeah. One time I went on a woman with several dates and many calls, and shoot, it was about 2 months later, she was like, "Oh, that guy that's been answering the phone when you call?" I said, "Oh, yeah. That's my husband."
Oh boy, who did you think it was?
I thought maybe it was her brother or...
So you hadn't asked?
No, because
Oh, boy.
it was, everybody was so cool about it, because "Hey, Tony, what's up? How you doing?" And I used to go pick her up from her house.
With him there?
Yeah.
So what was going on there?
I don't know what she was telling him, but she was also a model, and maybe she was saying, "Oh, this is for a modeling gig or something." I don't know. But I ended it once as soon as
When
I
she found out?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I really believe that, people are people.
People are people.
And, they do the same things. People do the same things that they did, 20, 30 years ago dating as they do now. It's all about getting to know a person and finding out who they are. And, I believe the more honest you are, the better chance. And not only being honest, but knowing yourself and really enjoying the person that you are. Be happy with
Oh,
yourself.
you don't think you should switch it up?
No. No.
That was a
it's
trick
never-
question.
It's never.
I have
a good
always been
thing.
myself.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. So I kind of believe that, dating in the digital age, I think the same rules apply if you want to be successful in having a positive relationship.
I agree because and that was my point is that yes in the digital age that is where you start. Like we know a few couples who met online and now they're married
And now they're
and
married,
they've been
yes.
married for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But and so that's where it starts. That's a great way to meet people
Yeah.
because one thing that I hear from singles today is that it's really hard to meet people in person.
Yeah, see, they haven't developed that skill like a lot of older people have. They've developed the skill, and if they want to meet somebody, they can meet somebody. They know how to interact with people, how to start a conversation with a person. And I'm not saying that younger people are shy, but they're just not used to doing it.
Yes. When I was, actually, when you and I were dating, you were ready to break up with me because you hadn't been to my house yet.
Yeah.
And so, but
Yeah.
I was protective of where I live because I thought if it doesn't work out, because in my past, I've had stalkers. So
Yeah,
if it didn't work out,
I
I didn't want you to
understand,
know where
but-
I lived because you lived really close to me.
Yeah, but we were dating for like
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen this woman's house yet. I haven't seen where she lives. So I began to think that maybe she's hiding something.
I was
like a husband.
Nope.
Or a boyfriend.
Nope.
Or a girlfriend. I don't know.
Nope.
So
I didn't have any
I didn't
of
know.
those.
So I was like, it's been a while now. It's about time I get to see, where you live.
Yeah,
just-
and I was like, okay, I'll take that chance.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Heck, you'd been over to my house several times.
I have.
You might have turned into a stalker of me.
No, I do not have stalker tendencies.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well, why did you let me into your house
Because
so early on?
I trusted you.
Oh, do you trust easily?
I take people for face value. for the most
See, I don't
part.
trust easily. There are many people I trust, but I don't trust
You
easily.
know, you usually if somebody's hiding something, it's gonna show.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually, some
Yes.
people are better at hiding stuff than others.
Yes, they
They're
are.
really, really good at it, and it might take years to see what they're hiding.
What they're hiding, yes.
Because they've gotten good at it, because they've been hiding stuff for most of their life, so they get good at it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we're getting comments, so let me go to those. Ronaldo's in the house. Hey, Ronaldo.
Hey, Ronaldo, what's up?
Hello. And then John says, stalkers can be scary. They sure can. I've had stalkers when I taught, like a student was stalking me.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a stalker where I went to graduate school. Like I've had I've had stalkers in the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Except I didn't know about that one. Tony figured that one out for me.
I was a stalker, but I married
You were not a stalker.
I married you though. My stalking
How does
paid
that
off.
sound? You did not stalk me.
I stalked you, and then it paid off.
You shouldn't say that to people. You should never say that ever again.
I would okay,
Especially to those of us who've had real
well,
stalkers.
let's see. Let's see. I met Jill in the bookstore that she worked at, and many of you know this. But I made sure that I got in her line every time.
I didn't consider that stalking.
Every time I got in her line.
But maybe I didn't consider that stalking because I didn't know that that's what you were doing.
No, but
So,
I wasn't.
there's that.
I wasn't stalking you. I didn't. I didn't
you
wait in the
weren't, 'cause-
parking
'cause
lot
some-
and follow
some
you
of the-
home and stuff
Some of my
like that.
coworkers did indeed have stalkers at the bookstore, so we would all walk out together if we all worked the night shift, you know, because people would be waiting for them in the parking lot. It was wild. Okay, so yes, stalkers are scary. And then Ronaldo says, "Why did you find a house with a piano in it?"
Huh?
Why did you find a house with a piano in
I
it?
found a house with a piano in it.
Why did you find a house with a piano in it? I did. I brought the piano.
No, well, I didn't have this. We didn't have the piano before I met Jill. It was her piano.
But didn't Ronaldo help with the piano, moving the piano?
No, we moved it into your house.
That's what I'm saying. So I had the house, and then the piano came.
Came later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's saying I should have found a house with the piano already in it, so that you all didn't have to move my heavy piano. The old pianos are really heavy. I think that's what he's
The
saying.
next time we moved that piano, I hired some guys to move it. Well, I brought it over here on my trailer, but I hired some guys to bring it in the house. Actually, I hired the guys to get it out
Ronaldo
of
has
your
a follow
house.
up. He says, when you went to Jill's house, why did you end up with a woman with a piano in it, with a house in her house, with a piano in her house? Now I can talk.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know.
The piano came with me, Ronaldo. What can I say? It just came with
And
me.
now it's behind us.
And now it's behind us.
What's left of it, as we know. I took it apart.
And then John has a comment on the piano too. Ronaldo, they killed the piano. It was a successful hut, and now they have that piano hanging on the wall like a trophy.
The piano,
That's really funny.
The piano is like the scarecrow in Wizard of Oz after the flying monkeys got to him. Oh, yeah, some of the piano's over there, and some is over there,
true.
and some is over here, and some is over there. The piano's all over this room now. It's all over.
That's really funny. That's hilarious, John. And then Ronaldo says, "John, you are on the money." Oh, okay. I see what you all are doing. And then Bertha's here tonight, too. Hello,
Hey,
Bertha. Hello,
Bertha.
family.
Bertha is a podcaster.
Oh, yes, she is. She's doing very well. So if you're
Yes.
50 or curious about people who are 50,
50s or in their
that's what her
50s.
podcast is about. It's wonderful. Like,
Yeah.
so, and not just women. She's
What's it
talking to-
exactly called? You can type that in the
Yeah,
in the
remind me,
comments.
Bertha, what you're calling the show.
Because I think it's the fifth Fabulous and 50.
Bertha, please tell us. I don't want to get it wrong.
Tell us, because I know you're gonna have some new episodes coming up.
Yes, she's been posting them.
She's like,
She says thank you. But also tell us the name of it. And then back to your scarecrow comment, John says the piano didn't have a brain. That's funny.
I don't know. So, some of us believe that what we think are inanimate,
Inanimate.
objects actually hold energy, which may not be a brain per se, but they have a feeling to them.
Yes,
if
my
you
piano has good
say.
juju. That's why I didn't want to give it up.
Yeah, so it's still here. It's bringing us good luck. It's behind us every show.
Yes, yes, and if we could have, like earned money every time someone mentioned the piano, we would have quite a bit of money by now. And I don't mean
Well-
just in the show. I mean when I've done Zooms,
Oh yeah,
meetings with the piano
and
behind
we've
me
done
and stuff
photo
like that.
shoots with this as a background
Yep.
and stuff. So
And Bertha did tell us the name of her show. It's Journey from 1975 to 2025. But when you say 1975, that really makes me feel old. But that's okay.
I remember some. I remember some of those years. They were kind of blurry.
In 1975?
In the 70s, yeah.
Well, the 70s were the 70s.
70s, and early 80s, they were all kind of blurry.
Yes. So, Bertha, when you actually turn 50, I want you to do like a special episode about all that you've learned from your guest now that you are 50. Because she's not 50 yet.
Okay.
She's turning 50 this year, but
This year.
and I feel like I can say that, Bertha, since that's what
That's
your
what the show is about.
What your show is about.
You do a show
And I'm older than you, so Yep.
Yeah.
You ready to move on to our next segment?
We have another segment.
You say that every time. What is with that? It's a segment that we call
I'm trying to help you.
Do you remember this segment? This is the segment where we give advice to people. So what advice, like, again, we're not dating in the digital age.
Well, I will tell you. Originally, when internet dating started many years ago, I would discourage people from doing internet dating.
You did?
Oh,
Why is that?
absolutely. Because everybody at the time that I had met someone through the internet, it was like a nightmare. It was like awful. Like they were, and it didn't matter whether they were men, women, gay, straight. It did not matter. All of them were nightmares, and I was like, "Oh, don't."
Nightmares as in scammers? Like what was
Some were
what was the nightmare?
scammers. Some were not mentally stable. Some some were pyromaniacs.
Oh boy.
And said, "Oh, they set the bushes on fire on somebody's house while they were sleeping."
I know that story.
So there were all these horrible stories about dating on the internet early on. However, I have changed my opinion because, like you said earlier, we know many people that met, on a dating app and are happily married. So it's just another way to connect to someone, and people are much better at figuring out who's on the up and up and who is not,
And who are
nowadays.
Snickety snackety.
Yeah. So my thing is, if you're lonely and you're looking for companionship, by all means, go ahead. Use a digital platform to
To get
hopefully-
started.
Yeah.
And, to meet people. But don't leave it on the app. Like don't do every single communication on it
Yeah.
on the app. And I would add to that I think that's great advice you just gave. I would add to that by saying, like use a current photo and be honest. You don't have to tell everything in your profile, because you want people to get to know you. But what you do put out there, it should be honest. And also, just because you get a match doesn't mean that they're a true match. You know, like algorithms are not the same as connections to me,
Yeah.
or chemistry, or, you know, just that you should be together. Like, just because you're great on paper doesn't mean you should be together.
Yeah, if we did that, they probably wouldn't put us together.
Why do you say that?
Probably.
Excuse
Probably
you?
wouldn't. Probably wouldn't. You know.
Why?
Yeah, on paper it doesn't seem like we would be together. They would.
I don't know what's on your paper.
There would be nothing. There's it says blank.
But you're not blank.
What is it? You don't do nothing.
That is not even true.
He's got no skills.
That's not true at all. You did the piano. You did the piano.
They wouldn't. That was destruction.
And you're a poet.
You
That's
made
art.
me a poet.
I did not
You know
make you a
this.
poet.
made
You
me a
told me
poet.
you were a poet.
You made me a
when
writer.
we first met.
You
Nope.
and
I do
both
not.
of them are
I
the
do not
same.
make people be writers. But when I know that you have an interest, I try to bring that out and enhance it.
Yeah, that's for another show.
We've had that show before.
There's another show I think we should have. I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, there's another show
right.
we need to revisit.
All right. And then John has commented, like, just say it. People are monsters. Yes, they can be.
Some
especially,
people can be.
Especially some people online. Like, they hide, you know, behind their computers or their phones. And,
Yeah.
you know, they're not really who they, or maybe they are who they, maybe that is who they really are.
Perhaps.
You just have to figure that out, right?
Perhaps.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're not exactly the best people to talk about, you know, to give advice about dating in the digital age. But we have had sound advice, I believe, of, you know, when something's off, you know, like go with your gut,
Yeah.
you know, go with your instincts. And as you would say, sometimes you really do have to run. Just
That's right.
run away
Just
from
get
that.
on out of that. Don't think about it again. Just gone.
Yes.
No contact. No nothing. Gone.
Yep. That's a
Like,
show we could do. About,
sorry,
you
I
know,
ever-
all the people you've
I'm
ghosted.
sorry I ever met you. You know, that type of thing.
Huh?
How many people are, do you know like that? That you're like, you're sorry that you ever met them?
Actually, only, well, let me think on that
See, you're
one.
thinking on it,
I'll get back to you about that.
And you're like, well, maybe one. Then you're
No, no, like,
oh,
no.
two. Well, just two. No, 3, 4, 5, 6. It turns out you probably
Yeah,
have a lot of
I'll get back
people
to you on that
you
wish number. I'll
you
think about that.
never met.
How about you?
I have quite a few that I wish I never met. Never met.
Yeah. I have to give that some thought and get back to you and the audience about what that number is. John says he's got a few.
He's got a few. I think all of us
I think
have
we
a
all
few
do.
that, you know, we wish we never met that person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well. Bye.
As you know, sometimes we learn from that though, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Those usually involve some lessons, some hard lessons.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That's
we need to
right.
close the show out. I do believe
Yes,
do.
we are already there. That was a quick show.
Excellent.
All right, here we go.
Hey. After show, anyone, we need your input. Now, John knows how to do that, so we need some other people to do that. So, is there any comment, question you have, or input you have, or show idea you would like us to do? Let us know. You know how to reach us. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, I do. All right. So remember to come back here every week to check out I'm Right, I'm Right. That's Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern live. And for those of you that just listen to audio and replay, listen anytime you want. But we would love it if you come to the show live and watch and listen to us. So thank you.
And before we go out, we do have a couple of comments that came in.
Okay.
Ronaldo says, Tony, you better hope you are not on Jill's list.
That's a good one.
He's not Ronaldo.
I can say when a person has a good one, and that was a good one.
And then John says, I thought you had a guest speaker.
Oh, we did have a guest speaker, but look, they're not here.
They're not here.
So here we are.
Here we are. And I also want to do a shout out to Kimberly Brock. I noticed that she's here. I met her in person. I met her through her award-winning writing. She's a novelist, historical novelist, fantastic writer.
Wonderful.
But I met her in person last night.
Oh.
And she's just as lovely as her work. So hi, Kimberly. Thanks for being here. All right.
All right.
You ready
cool.
to say goodbye?
We're closing this out.
All right.
I'm
Bye,
ready.
everybody. See you next week.
And we love you all like usual. And I'm not just saying that.
We're not just saying
I
that.
mean it. So
Love you all.
guys.
Bye.